Welcome to Mazecast, episode 28, I think, maybe 27. This episode, I'm joined by Beals, aka Andrew, and myself, Alex, aka SP. And we're not joined by Vince or Ben today, but today is probably going to be a shorter episode. We're talking about Room 45, but not in the usual sense. We're just going to be going over the solution of the maze, the riddle of the maze.
Ooh.
This is separate from the riddle of the guide, and it's also separate from the path, how to get from room 1 to 45 and back to 1 in the shortest amount of steps, which is 16, without getting lost or trapped.
We've talked in all of the rooms on the path, we've talked extensively about trying to figure out what the correct door is to take. And we're not going to talk about what we think is the correct door to take out of 45 either, which honestly, I have no idea how it's clued at all. But we're going to save that for another episode. Right now, we're just going to focus on the question that room 45 poses and the solution that's scattered throughout the rest of the maze.
That's right. So how about we do this in sort of an interview thing? I'll ask you questions. And
Sure.
Okay, so I guess it's described on the first page of the book and on the back of the book that there's a riddle in the maze. How does one come up with the question of the room, or the riddle rather?
One come up with the question of the room, yes. So all of you can see the question mark in the room, which in room 45, which may be a bit of a pointer that in fact the entire question is visually sort of rebused, if you want to call it that. It's all visually clued word for word in the room 45, and there are six words that you have to put together as well as the question mark to form the question, and I can go ahead and describe them for you now if you like.
Yeah, I will pull up the book on my screen and screen for the people.
So just for a little context, this was this was a riddle that was originally posted. The contest was posted in 1985 and ended 2 years later. And the idea was that there would be a $10,000 prize to the first person who would be able to completely solve the riddle of the maze, not just find the shortest path, but actually come up with the answer, the one-word answer. And nobody managed to do it, but they split it up among 12 people. Oh no, recursion! Oh my god! They split it up among the 12 people who were closest to solving it, but they posted some clues when they realized that it was kind of rather a lofty task. They sent out, upon request, 6 additional one-sentence clues, each of which helped you to kind of get at one of the 6 words that's clued here in this image. So if you like, I'll just go ahead and take those one by one and introduce the 6 words.
Okay.
So the first one, and these are sent out, I don't actually know. I don't know if we've talked about this. I don't know if these were written by Manson, which they seem like they could have been, but they were sent out by the corporation that was holding the contest. The first of these clues is, I'll tip my hat if the 2 of you can solve this. And so there's a hat in the room, so of course that's a clue. And the fact that it points to 2 of you indicates that we're probably meant to put the hat together with some other thing in the room in order to form the first word. And we have the W lying around, and we can put the W and the hat together to form what, and they're sort of occupying relatively opposite positions within the room. Not quite, but you have that chair there, but it's close enough that you can get the first word. So we have what, and we have a question mark, so obviously this is some kind of question that's going to begin with what. And clue number 2 is you can get into these 2 shoes only if you don't go anywhere. Now, 2 shoes, again, we have this 2 going on. We see 1 shoe here, and it's not clear why he would be referring to 2 shoes when there aren't any other obvious shoes in the room. But in fact, there is another shoe, and it's the horseshoe, and it's the letter U, which could also be interpreted as a horseshoe. So you put the shoe and U together, rearrange the letters, and you get house. And that is exactly where you can get into these 2 shoes only if you don't go anywhere, i.e. you stay at home. So this kind of layered wordplay and so forth is very characteristically Manson. So I suspect that Manson wrote these, although I don't know if that's been confirmed. So we have what house, and then 4 more words. Now, number 3 is you will find 2 names on the table, and they go together like donut and hole. So you look on the table and you see 2 objects. There's it's hard to describe what it is without just giving it away, but it's a plank on which there are 4 little trunks in a row, little stumps, and you have a sheet of paper with a sun on it, as well as I am, and the image of a fist raised with a spear in it. So, in fact, this is a simultaneous clue to 2 different names. You have the wood object you can interpret as a row of wood, and that gives you Woodrow, which together with the sun would seem to suggest Woodrow Wilson. At the same time, the I am and the fist shaking a spear suggest William Shakespeare. So the element that's missing from both of these names is, of course, will. So the 3rd word is will. What house will? Now, the 4th one is you must choose between 2 pictures. And we've already used up the picture of the hat and the question mark. We've already got the sun and the fist accounted for. There's still the I remaining, as well as that the Z on the other side, but it would seem that the most obvious pair of pictures that hasn't yet been covered is these 2 at the top. Now, I didn't know what this is because I'm very young, but apparently this one on the left is an awl, an AWL, whereas the lady on the right is, of course, a nun. So you have to choose between all or none. And it happens that it's not so obvious which one you really have to choose. And I think people have tried to devise solutions that in some way use the none. But according to the official solution, the one that you're going to choose is all. So what house will all? Now we'll move on to clue number 5, and that is there are no 2 ways you can read this sign. And that's in reference to this sign with the letters ELVI that's lying upside down in the doorway to room 28. Now, you can do a whole lot with that, and you can take that in some really crazy directions, but one of the things that is to do, yes, if you're Alex, you can really have fun with that one.
Yeah, we've had fun with this one.
Yes. But there are several words that you can spell. You can actually spell at least 3 words, so I'm not sure, 4 words actually, so I'm not sure why 2 ways, and you can chime in if you want to help at all. I'm not sure why it only says 2 ways, when in fact you can spell at least 4 words. You can spell vile, veil, evil, or live, but live is the one that you're going to have to choose. Do you have any thoughts about that? It's the strangest clue insofar as there isn't an obvious duality. There are at least 4 choices.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just goes with the rest of the choices you make in the room, specifically like having to choose the all or none pictures. And then you got, the double duty Woodrow Wilson Shakespeare thing going on. I don't know. I mean, it's I guess it's just an attempt to make it even harder.
I guess.
Like, you just have 4 choices and then
you get down to the point where you have the other 5 words. You can choose live because it's the only verb, and you kind of need a verb because will is an auxiliary, and you can't just leave the. It would be some people cast aspersions on the grammaticality of the question, but it would be even more grammatical if there weren't a proper verb carrying the sentence. So you pretty much have to choose live by default. So
yeah. It's just a matter of first you get all the words together. You might not be getting it in the order that
right, especially if you didn't have this prompt with the words in the exact order. You're just trying to hash it out. But
oh wait, so you're saying that the clues that William Holt released, they actually said the clue order of the sentence?
Yes, the order is apparently because we have it confirmed, and I'll get to that. We have it confirmed what shape the question is officially supposed to take, and so the clues match the order so as to make it even a little bit easier, I suppose. So you do know that this is the 5th word in the sentence.
Oh, that's pretty helpful.
Yeah, it's almost too helpful. So our final one is 6, and that is you can see that another 2 pictures demonstrate their own kind of symmetry. So we've identified a lot of symmetry in the room, and the last two elements are the eye, which is clued by you can see, and this strange long Z. And I think that the reason why it's so tall is meant to get us to try to think about it as something other than a Z, because in fact we're not supposed to interpret it as a Z at all. We're supposed to interpret it as an N. Flipped up. Oh! And so if you put together the I, the letter I, and N, you get it. And so the full question is, what house will all live in? And there have been other interpretations. There are other questions that can also get you ultimately to the same solution, which is great. But I should say that this is, I'm willing to take this as the official question insofar as it was confirmed by Andrew Plotkin, who was one of the original generation of maze solvers. He was actually one of the people who was trying to work on this at the time that the contest was underway, and he had the solution officially mailed to him. I trust him on this. I don't think that he would. He's certainly not just some random guy.
No, was this before the John Bailey site?
It's a great question. He didn't specify in his post. This is on an essay, which a lot of people who've Googled Maze may have seen because it's a top result. It is called Maze, Beautiful, Inspirational, Unsolvable. If you want to Google that, it's written by Jason McIntosh, and it's really interesting. It takes a very admiring but pessimistic view of the mazes. Well, obviously its solvability, which of course we try to hack away at whatever we think is solvable. So I can't completely agree with the point of view, but it's a very thoughtful and admiring but critical piece. And Andrew Plotkin posted a few times, and yeah, there's some other interesting lore there and some other links to some of the old John Bailey stuff and that kind of thing. But I'm not sure whether Andrew Plotkin got that solution confirmed before or after the heyday of John Bailey. But in any case, what house will all live in is the official question. And I think at that point, I don't have much else to say. I'm going to pass it on to you if you'd like to describe the solution.
Absolutely. So the solution is also in a sentence form. It really is ultimately just one word, but I believe that the sentence is like a poetic answer to this question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just pull it up here.
Right, you get the answer. The riddle, the maze gives you an answer, but then you have to sort of interpret that to get the real one word answer.
Yeah,
it's really almost sort of like just the second half of the question. It's just adding more information.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but the answer. So the question is basically, inside room 45, you can get all the words from Rebus puzzles within 45, and the answer is laid out in a breadcrumb trail. But not between 45, between 1 to 45, and then back to 1 using the path. There's various letters and stuff peppered around other rooms in the maze.
Right, using their
letters or in some cases objects too, right? Or is that not true?
And I will yeah, it's the shortest path, because there are rooms that are considered to be part of the path because they're not part of the loop or the trap, but all of the elements that clue the response, as I call it, not really the answer, but the response to the question, are found on the shortest path. And yeah, you can get them. Well, it's sort of, you want to talk about how it's sort of split up between the way in and the way out, because there are sort of two different means of disguising them.
No, I'm not following you.
Well, in the sense that in the way out, there are letters that you have to gather, but in the way in, there are words that are clued in various other ways.
Oh, I wasn't aware that it was split up like that. That there was it was different on the way in from the way out. No, I don't know, but I guess you could talk about that. I could talk about what the actual answer is.
If you describe the answers room for room, then maybe you'll know what I mean.
Okay. Anyway, I want to sit here staring at my book. So, where is it? Oh, wow, this is long. Oh.
Well, we've already covered a lot of the individual words in the response that are clued whenever we've been in those relevant rooms. So I don't know whether or not you want to.
I'm just looking for that poetic sentence. It was like on your shoulders.
Yeah. Like Atlas, you bear it on your shoulders, or was it upon? Yeah, it's upon.
Bear it upon your shoulders. Yeah, there's some debate in room 23. The room shoulder appears, but we were talking about this last episode. How there was you can get two letters in different rooms, and it's debated whether you can find an E in room, I believe it's 37.
Right. So there's a little bit of the way you go into room 45, you get all of the words in the response except for shoulders. You get like Atlas, you bear it upon. Upon, that's the blind man's room where you flip it upside down, and that gets you
up and on.
You get there, you get to your, and then you get to the center of the maze, and on the way out you get the letters for shoulders. But it's true, as you say, that there is a bit of there's a bit of confusion and there's a bit of debate about how exactly the letters break down in shoulders, because some of them are really obvious, such as the fact that in room 20, which is the final room before you exit the maze, before you get back to room 1, that is, you have two magazines or newspapers with S on the front page, but one of them is marked as an extra. So you discard that one, it's a spare, but you get the letter S, and that's obvious, it's right there. I mean, it might not be obvious to discard one of them, but you can see the letter S very plainly. Whereas in some of the other examples, and especially in the room with the shapes, you guys are better with the room numbers than I am, but the room with the triangle and so forth, and the cone and all of that.
Yeah, 37 with a dice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people have tried hard to get the letter E out of there somewhere, and it's not exactly clear whether we're supposed to get it there or whether it's supposed to be somewhere else. There is definitely a little bit of haziness, but nonetheless, it is confirmed. I should say, yeah, I should absolutely say that Andrew Plotkin supplied not only the question, but the response and the full one-word solution and the shortest path, although that's almost redundant at that point.
We have a lot to live up to. We've got these guys who, with one.
No, I don't mean that he cracked all of these things, although he probably did a lot to get there. But I just mean that all of these things were sent to him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So all of those things are officially
for doing
the last word. Yeah, the response is officially confirmed, as much as is the question. So shoulders is definitely the last word. We haven't completely reached unanimous consensus exactly where you can pin down all of the letters. Most of them are obvious in shoulders, but there are a few that are still a little bit elusive.
Yeah, I mean, if they were supplied in order, like when you go from one room to another and it spells out shoulders the same way that you can get it from the clues order, then it would be easier. But because you can't do that,
yeah, you actually can't. It's strange because on the way in, the words are exactly it, but that on the way out they're not. I suppose because he thought it would be easier to unscramble one word, as opposed to trying to form an entire sentence where you don't know what order the words are supposed to be in. So I guess just add a little extra element of obfuscation. He scrambled the letters and shoulders.
So there you have it, folks. The question of the maze is that, and the answer is the globe. But it's always also being said as the Earth or the world.
Which, funnily enough, is on the cover of the book, which people have delighted in pointing out. Solve the world's most challenging puzzle, and it's right there.
Yeah.
I kind of like world as the solution. But yes, world, Earth, or globe, like Atlas.
There's been some discussion that because of the use of William Shakespeare, his playhouse was the globe.
Yeah, that was
possible. And I hate to digress. I don't want to make this thing too long, but I had a couple of other thoughts about the William Shakespeare thing. You can also sort of get it from, since you've got the W there and then you've got the Woodrow, but you could literally write out Will with 3 lines. You know what I mean? Like ILL. If it was all lowercase, you could type that out. Sort of. You can sort of get that with the like Will I am. You know what I mean? Will em.
Where are you getting the 3 lines?
You could also get the 4. Well, there's 4 lines here because it's the row of wood, but sort of just the sequential way that it goes. It looks sort of like a Will I am.
I don't know if you
Will Sun, because Sun on the other side too.
I don't know if you think you're screen sharing right now, but I'm looking at your face. I'm not sure if.
Okay, let me pull it up. Hold on.
Maybe in the video it is screen sharing, and I don't realize it. Yeah, show me where you get the other three lines. So you feel like Will is even more directly clued?
Well,
If
there's
you,
four lines. Like there are four lines, but I'm just saying it's sort of just the from right to left. It sort of looks like the W.
oh, you're just interpreting row of wood as the lines?
Yeah, like W, and then you got the I. Hold on.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you're not seeing my screen. You're seeing my
I'm
face.
still not seeing your screen, I'm afraid, but I mean, these images are available online. Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Actually, that looks more like room 24. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, so the W, and then you got like the I. I know there's an extra one here, but you get the Will Son. There's a son on the other side, or William. I mean, you can get the two names.
Yeah, it is kind of. I can see why that is attractive because of the fact that the W and the wood row are so close together that you can just read them contiguously.
Yeah. What else can we say about this? The chair so far, nobody's had an explanation for the chair in this.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Well, I suppose we should save that for a real full-fledged discussion of room 45 because it's possible that the chair is somehow supposed to help us get to the correct door, which is really hard to puzzle out. I don't know if there are text. I mean, we know which one is the correct door, but this is actually one of the hardest rooms because it's so deeply involved in giving the question, and you would assume that most of these clues aren't going to be reused for other purposes. It's very hard to get any clue to the actual correct door out of here, and I suppose we should probably save that for...
Yeah, let's save that. We got plenty of material on that. I'm not going to bring any of it up in this episode so that we can keep the viewers on the hook for the next one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, as far as the chairs are concerned, I think there's actually something thematic going on in the whole maze with the chairs, but we overlook it just because they're normal objects, right? We sort of think of them as things in the like that clue to things in rooms rather than something that could be thematic, the same way Top Hat is, or the same way the umbrella is, or whatever. The fish at herring.
So we're gonna have a chair episode.
Yeah, we could have a chair episode. Yeah, definitely do that.
I'll pull up a...
Yeah. What else is there? The Elvis sign, the all. I think that's it, really.
Oh, I do want to, and this is related to the riddle, so that's why I'm going to mention it now. I do want to mention that some people have actually rejected the all and interpreted the none as being in habit, as in, and so they've actually put that together with the in, and they're like, oh, what house will... I don't know exactly how they form the question, but they make inhabit, which is a lot of fun and is really cool.
I've never heard that. That's funny. I love how there's so many puns that you can come up with.
Yeah, you can do a lot.
Nice. There's also been mentioned, this is just sort of random stuff I'm mentioning. In the shoe, you can get an XX1. I know you'll like this one.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I don't know if that's related to getting to the next room. 21. Yeah, not really.
We have 23. If you could just somehow turn it into... Yes, because the correct... I mean, I might as well say it. The correct door is 23. We won't talk too much about that, but I do find that interesting. We should bring that back up.
Yeah, so you're saying that the long Z is actually an N, right?
Yes, and I guess it's just that we're supposed to... The extremely strange elongated shape is probably just supposed to get us to analyze it in different ways besides just taking it as a Z. Some people have actually said that the Z, you have to flip it the way that it would be flipped within the retina or whatever. I'm not too up on my eye functionality since high school, exactly how the image is flipped within the eyeball, but I think it would be completely upside down or something. I'm not...
Yeah, it would be flipped. It would be it's on a vertical scale the same way camera obscura, like when you have the pinhole, it'll be upside down.
Oh yeah, oh cool, that's cool. Yeah, so it's not a 90-degree flip, but it's still possible that maybe we're supposed to be thinking along those lines, but it seems a bit, I don't know, I've never felt completely comfortable.
Yeah, I've never understood what prompts us to flip the sign.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the weaker clues. He probably could have found a different way to give us N, but what do you want?
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, do you have anything else to add?
Gosh. Well, looking at the room 45 itself, I don't. Let's just... else will all live, and like Atlas, you bear it upon your shoulders. Yeah. I think we're good.
Cool. Okay, folks, that's it. We will see you probably next week at some point. Happy long weekend. Oh, did you guys have a long weekend over there?
No, I went to work today.
To work today. Boomerns. Okay, folks, that's it. Me and Andrew are out, and we'll see you next week, and we'll probably decide on a room between now and then.
We're going to do room 46. I'm calling it out. I want to present.
Yeah. All right. You're on.
Yes.